Well, the annual District Development Model Conference kicks off today in Stellenbosch. Now, this is a practical intergovernmental relations mechanism to enable all three spheres of government to work together with communities and stakeholders to plan, budget and implement in unison. It's taking place after the Auditor-General recently released this year's local government audits, which paint a bleak picture about how they are financed and managed. We cross live now to Lulama Matya for an update. Lulama, a good morning to you. Talk to us about what's taken place and in those proceedings already thus far.
Good morning, Naledi and the viewers at home. You coming to us live from Stellenbosch University, which is the Cape Winelands District Municipality. It's the annual development municipal model that is currently kicking off today for over 3 days. The proceedings are expected to start soon. If I can ask cameraman Sihle to zoom out, you are here inside the venue. Delegates are starting to arrive as they are going to deliberate over the next 3 days about the state of municipalities, what is happening at local government. We are seeing now protest, service delivery, protest around the country, starting to increase, becoming more regular now as we are approaching the general election next year. But to talk to us more about the aim and the purpose of the conference, I am joined by the Deputy President of Salga, Xola, Pakati. Welcome to the SABC, sir.
Morning to you, Lulu, and to the viewers at home.
Tell us, what's the aim of this conference?
The purpose of this DDM conference is to evaluate progress that we have made this far in the implementation of the district development model. As you are aware that DDM is a mechanism that is meant to enable the three spheres of government to work together with communities and stakeholders to plan, to implement and monitor projects at a community level, and as such municipalities as the areas where development is taking place are at the center of the implementation of the DDM.
As the umbrella body of municipalities, Salga, recently the Auditor-General released the audit outcomes of municipalities, whereby the audit indicates that there is a decrease in the number of municipalities that received clean audits in this financial year. As Salga, what's your take on that?
Well, indeed, we are very worried about the situation insofar as audits are concerned in municipalities. Although there is some progress recorded, but there are a number of municipalities that have declined in terms of accountability. We have taken a view that we'll put together a team that will work together with municipalities to help them to get out of the quagmire and be able to account for public funds.
Do you perhaps play any role in the appointment of, for instance, chief financial officers as well as mayors, accounting officers in municipalities? Do you play any role in that to make sure that taxpayers' money are handled in a proper and effective way?
Well, the appointments are done at the municipal level. Salga does not appoint chief financial officers at the municipal level. That is done by councils in terms of their obligations. But we assist in processes as and when we are required to do so by a particular municipality.
Okay, let's talk about, for instance, now this cycle of audits, which, as you're saying, there are some improvements, but there are concerns as well. What are you going to do as Salga? What's your role in making sure that municipalities deliver better?
Well, our role is to support member municipalities to ensure that they deliver services to the people but also they account for public funds. To that end, we have agreed that we'll put together a team from Salga that will work with municipalities to ensure that accountability prevails. That's how far we can go.
Service delivery protest. We've seen recently an increase in service delivery protests throughout the country. As Salga, are you worried about that? What's your intervention when communities are crying out for delivery of services?
What is more important for municipalities is to communicate consistently and frequently with communities so that people become part of their development process. When people do not have information, sometimes they are left to protest, sometimes on matters that would not necessitate a protest, because there is no communication between that particular local or that particular locality and the communities. That we must improve as municipalities, communicate with the people, but also people have a right to protest as and when they see their conditions deteriorating. That responsibility is a responsibility of all the three spheres of government, which the DDM seeks to resolve.
You are going to make a keynote address here as the Deputy President of Salga. What's the message that you're going to put out there?
Well, our message is that we support the implementation of the DDM because it helps us a lot. We move out of the silos where a province and a national government would not talk to each other, as well as municipalities where the actual development is taking place. Remember, every development in our country takes place in a ward, and there is a ward councillor there and our communities. And the DDM seeks to close that gap. That's what we want, but also we want a more regulated engagement in the implementation process of one plan and the financing model of that one plan by all the spheres of government. If we do that, we'll then be able to collectively drive our development trajectory as a country.
Let's talk about coalition at municipalities. A number of coalitions, we've seen that they are not. There's no stability in some of the coalitions that are governing certain municipalities. As Salga, do you have any role to play around those stability and coalitions going forward?
Well, we have gone to the extent of developing a framework that guides municipalities on how they should go about dealing with coalitions. But also we would want this to be regulated so that you don't have a situation where you have a mayor for 1 month and the next month a new mayor is appointed, a month later another mayor is appointed. To us, that is the main cause of instability in municipalities, because in that process, accountability then is compromised. But also, sometimes in situations where you find a situation that these coalition agreements are signed at a party level without the involvement of the masses, sometimes against the will of the people of that particular locality, where a person with one seat would demand that he or she be made a mayor against the outcome of the electoral process. So those matters are matters that should find expression in the regulatory environment so that we have a permanent stability in municipalities.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Lulu.
Naledi, let's leave it at there when the Deputy President of Salga is talking about their intervention in making sure that municipalities, especially those that are governed through coalitions, there is stability. The conference is going to run for over 3 days. We're expecting to see the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Tembinga Dimeng, delivering a keynote address here, as well as this afternoon, the Auditor-General, Tsakane Maluleke, will also deliver a statement here explaining the role that she plays and how municipalities should make sure that taxpayers' money is managed effectively so that communities out there can get the services that they need. With that, back to you at the studio, Naledi.
Thanks for that, Lulama Matya, speaking to us there from the Western Cape.